Very good morning, everyone, for joining today. We'll just give a couple of minutes. We should expect Shiva as well to join very soon. Okay, we'll just give it a minute and then get started, Varsha.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think we can get started.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, everyone, for joining. So, today's call we have divided into two parts. Firstly, some of the product updates and any questions on premium SKU, if any, because we're going live with the premium SKU on 1st of April. So we have time for all our beta partners till 31st to move to premium. All right. So from the product updates, we've added the delete domain option here in the Active Directory model, wherein the user can select a specific domain and delete that. However, while deleting the domain, all the related data associated with that domain, for example, users, etc., all of those will get deleted. So we are showing a confirmation pop-up to be sure that we want to go ahead and delete the domain. So this is what we have added here. Okay, the next one is an important update that we made to while installing the agent. So this was one of the requests from our partners, wherein for additional reporting purpose, they wanted that during agent installations, if the agent could also be tagged. So basically, within a company, if we can tag specific agents and associate them to a location or an office or department within the company, so that will improve and enhance a more granular reporting, and that will help the users know that which agents are allocated for that particular department, location, or office within the same company. So that addition of tags while installation has been added. And once the agent is installed, so it shows up in the asset as manual tag. So as you can see in the screenshot, it comes with agent underscore installation tag with the host name of the asset, and then the tag that you have entered while running the installation command. So this is different from adding a manual tag later, because as you can see, the first part of the entire tag key says that it has been assigned or added while installation and not after the installation. So for a probe agent which has identified assets, the same tag will also be assigned to those assets. So this is what we have added for the agent installation tagging. Okay, so this is mostly for our on-premise partners, wherein we are giving a server health view when it comes to SSL certificate expiry time. So it lets the user know that whether your SSL certificate has expired or how many days are pending, so that the user can act upon it. The disk storage what's the percentage used, and also the port status, whether it's opened or it needs to be worked upon. So this, we are providing this option in the profile, top right profile icon. So there it will appear for the on-premise partner. All right. So with that, I am done with the product updates. Any questions so far, or anything on the premium SKU? Else, we'll probably have our CTO talk on the platform experience.
Okay, thanks, Varsha. Hi,
Thank you, sir.
everyone. Good to meet all of you virtually. So I've been working on multiple things over the past a few months, and basically a couple of months ago, I was brought in back here to essentially look at a couple of problems that a lot of partners have been talking about, and I've been basically going through the list of issues that um, have been brought up, and basically we've been solving these problems one after the other. And one of the key, when I basically went through the items that were basically coming in repeatedly and looking through what was the issue, I fundamentally found there are 3 or 4 things which basically popped up immediately to me in terms of what needs to be done. So first is basically from a portal perspective, we basically have had solved the speed problem to a large extent, I think, towards the mid of last year. And then after that, recently, once again, we essentially ran into some portal speed issues. And this is expected because the volume of data that as the number of partners grow and as each of the partners basically is putting more and more assets into the system basically is experiencing a kind of a little bit of sluggishness and slowness, which comes with basically the data bloat that comes in. But more importantly, what can we do to basically solve this problem, right? So this is a thing that I can say that, oh, there are so many people coming in, so I need to spin up more hardware, etc. So we took a little bit of a different approach to this whole thing, wherein basically I started analyzing the patterns of usage and what people are using in the product, etc. And then what we essentially found was that um, the product fundamentally centers around 4 views, right? One is basically assets, second is remediations, third is basically problems, and fourth is basically solutions. So these are the few views which are most dramatically used. So one of the things that we are essentially in the process of doing, and this is a 2-step approach where we are essentially first replacing our messaging infrastructure. As you know, I've explained this before, we were using NATS as the messaging infrastructure to this whole thing. What we are finding over a period of time is that beyond a certain number of agents, NAT seems to basically kind of not be able to basically handle the load and scale very well. And so we are basically bringing in MQ solution, which is basically more managed and basically is more scalable. So in fact, we've already rolled this out for all the pods and external scans. So you can actually see external scans are running much faster and basically they are much more lighter at this point of time. We will be basically integrating this with all the agents in the course of the next couple of weeks, and then you should essentially see much faster updates to the database, etc. The second thing that we essentially figured out also during this entire process is that we were having too many people who were writing to the same database, and that was essentially causing locks and contention. And I think some of you would have experienced things like errors while basically installing an agent where it says that basically a partition not found, etc. And partitioning was one of the things that we essentially did to essentially separate out data for each of the partners into their own set of partitions. And as you know, we have a concept of a pod, and each pod basically is basically um, up to 300 partners in a pod. So we basically create 300 partitions, and then we have all the tables in those partitions, and that's how we essentially have we maintain the data location. So the problem that was occurring in some of the pods essentially was because there were certain partners who were very large and certain partners who were very small. So if the large partner basically kind of started utilizing it very a lot, then basically the small partner was also impacted because of this effect. And so what we've done right now is that we basically brought in a separate analytical layer, which is basically a technology called DuckDB. So we are essentially moving all of the analysis and the data related to these four pieces, which is basically your assets, um, problems, remediations, and vulnerabilities. These four, we essentially move into DuckDB as a copy, and we essentially serve all the analytics and all of those pieces out of that copy that we are putting out there. This actually, we already tested out before a couple of months, because all of the Active Directory events, which was basically the audit events, were essentially getting stored in the DB, and that was causing massive slowness at one point of time. And so those are now basically being completely served out of DuckDB. So with the success of that and basically that working very well, we essentially are moving all of these pieces also as analytics into DuckDB. And so you will see improved performance times, and this will also scale horizontally. So we don't need to worry about, as more partners come, what will happen to you, because you're getting your own instance of DuckDB on which basically we are operating. And this is a newer concept that you can actually go and look it up. There is a company called MotherDuck that's basically kind of operating this, but this is more about having a high performance database that basically is for a smaller set, limited data set that can basically apply a lot of analytics. And this will also enable us to essentially kind of run queries which are more analytical in nature and give you more insights into the front panel, etc. So that's the second thing. So these are basically going to be improving over the course of the next, I would say basically anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks, you will see massive improvements in the way that the portal is loading, etc. The second thing that we are tackling, and I'm personally taking it as a goal, and we'll come back to you basically in the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks with what things we are doing in order to achieve that goal, is that we went through the entire portal, and I believe that we basically are just having an information overload. And what's happened over a period of time is that whatever people asked for, we just basically put it in different places, and we didn't have a proper thought process of where what should be there, etc. And so to reduce that information overload, we have basically brought in a set of screens that are very simple, very straightforward for people to understand, and that should be 90% of the day's job done using those screens. And then the remaining details are basically all going to be available as it is right now, but we will essentially kind of make them secondary screens versus them being the primary screen. So that's something that we are working on, and you'll see like prototypes of those coming out very quickly. Last but not the least, the uh, a bigger change that we are bringing on is basically like you have attack surface scan, you have basically the web scanning, you have the external scan, all of them basically looking at different parts of an entity. Okay, so we are basically going to bring all of these three together and basically make it one comprehensive 360-degree report that you can give for any enterprise. And we are also going to make this available as what we call as a pre-bind scan, which is basically saying that before you, this is basically can be used by your salespeople, where you can essentially kind of drop in an email of the person that you're going to meet before a sales cycle, and then it'll do a scan of their complete domain, figure out their subdomains, and then basically do a complete scan, give you a complete profile that you can essentially go to and basically for your sales pitch in the initial thing, because that's something that we are essentially doing. And the final thing that we are essentially working on, which will basically be something that we will deliver next quarter, is essentially this whole mode of installation of agents, right? So the last 2 years, we've been kind of going in the same model of installing agents, saying that, okay, somebody has to download, somebody has to put it in the RMM, they have to deploy it. And so it creates a lot of friction in terms of how we get the agents out and how we basically get it into the field, right? It's going to be possible for you to essentially kind of connect into either the Active Directory of your customer, or basically you just get a dump of all the people basically belonging to a company. You upload the list of people, they get an email. From the email, they can download the agent. And again, we're going to basically create the agent so that it can get the basic inventory information and all of the information that is required for us to basically make these 4 views work. We will get it without administrator privileges, so that they can essentially download, they install the agent, and then the data comes into the portal. And then you can always go back and basically install it with higher privileges at a later point of time. But at least basic portal will get populated very quickly. So it's easier for you to basically kind of show value to the customer upfront. And these are kind of the things that we're working on. and let's know if there are some things that we are missing, but these are kind of the improvements that we're working on. I saw that there were a lot of comments about saying that, oh, you guys are looking only at the premium SKU, you're not working on the core product. That's not true. We're making a lot of improvements on the core product. And in fact, we remain committed to making it the core product. Now, the premium SKU, honestly speaking, is something that we are forced by the market to basically introduce. And as all of you know, we are one of the basically players who is at the lowest in terms of pricing and basically giving maximum value and maximum features on the product. Now, the point is that at the end of the day, as an organization, we need to essentially keep this fuel going. And that's where we have to basically look at ways and means to essentially kind of monetize some of these things. We will look at other models of basically monetizing it, which are probably simpler, which as we move forward. But essentially, the premium SKU is the way that basically we have been advised to do certain things at this point of time, but we are always open to suggestions as we move forward. And then the last item basically that the team has been working on and basically will come out very soon is basically custom dashboards and reports. This is a completely new module. So we've tried basically looking at your custom dashboards using our present tools. We tried basically doing custom dashboards using Kibana, as you guys know, but all of these are basically very difficult and it's not intuitive enough. So we are basically have written our own dashboarding and reporting tool, which we'll bring to the fore. It's probably basically, I would say 60 days away from going live, but we will start a beta basically in 30 days. And if everybody basically can sign up for that beta and basically you can create your own reports, your own this thing, and you can also basically publish it and share it with others. So that part of it is something that we're working on. So I've not been on these calls for a very long time, but primarily it is because we've been working on all of these things on the core product to make it more scalable, more reliable, and all of these pieces. So thank you all for your feedback during this time, and we're happy to take any questions. Varsha?
Yes, sir.
I think Craig had a question. We have just started testing premium. Since we'll start being billed next month, can we still cancel after a month? Yes, yeah, you can do that. And folks, if you kind of went into beta late, what we can do is we have a way to you can use the premium module and downgrade it at the end of the month. And also, as always, you can reach out to the AM and billing at Connect Secure if you want any last minute changes. So we'll make it simple for you. You can continue to try out if you're probably started the beta probably Monday or something like that. Okay. Okay, Shiva, this question is great to hear about the improvements made on the speed of portal. The other big pain point is multiple clients has raised us the quality of built-in reports to the point we are working on pulling the data from API and just doing it externally. Any news on reports being worked on to save us doing that? Shiva, are you there?
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, we'll start showing you some of the reports that we basically are delivering, okay, which I think will basically hit the mark. And to be very honest, right, so the point is that like a lot of people told us that reporting is not good enough. In fact, our CEO, Peter, has been on my case saying that the reporting is not good enough. But then when I talk to everyone and say, what is not good enough, show me basically what I can do to make this report better, then the thing which always comes back is that there is nothing concrete which comes back, which is that it always points to one of the reports that we have right now and maybe adding a couple of lines here or there. So what we did was that I took it back and then we basically did a very comprehensive view of what is it that basically a customer needs to see, what is it that basically we can tell him, and how exactly is he going to be convinced of the value that you're providing. So how do we answer those 3 questions? And we did analysis, and based on that, we have a set of reports that are not about basically. So today's reports, the biggest problem I know is that we just dump a whole pile of data and then we say, yeah, we have done a report. However, what is required is basically very key insights from the report and basically your ability to say, here is the problem, here is the solution, and this is why you should choose me to basically solve your problem. And that is exactly what we are going with.
I've answered a couple of the other questions. I think the main question is around the custom dashboards and the timeline around it. So I think that you've answered already. So I think we have covered all the questions.
Yeah, perfect. So thanks everyone for making it to the call, and have a great week. And I will be back on this calls more often now, and basically we'll be going through some significant product improvements over the course of the next 8 to 12 weeks. And basically, I would like all of your feedback to get this into a better shape. Thanks, everyone.
Taylor, we'll reach out to you. Thanks for your feedback.
Thank you.